I'll admit, it's bad that it took me this long to realize this, and I'm not ashamed to say that because when it comes to sports, I don't have a problem being wrong because I'm not ever gonna be the smartest sports analyst out there, and that's never the goal. The goal is to just share my opinions and have fun. But I didn't make a video on this. I think I've mentioned it in a video, but I didn't have high hopes for this new looks net, the big three Nets. I didn't have high hopes for this team. I thought that this team, it was obviously going to be good. It was obviously going to make the playoffs. And I thought, like, they're not making the finals, though. They have bad defense, and the offense is going to be dumb because it's just going to be ISO ball, ISO ball, ISO ball. And looking back at it, that's such a dumb thing to think. That, like, this team's really just going to run ISO ball because they have three high usage players. And I'll admit that was dumb of me, but one thing that I know we didn't see was Harden being the player to take the back seat. I think a lot of people thought maybe it'd be Kyrie or something like that, but it was Harden. And I'm gonna get into how Harden's been on this team a little later. I've never been the biggest fan of Harden, but I give him his credit when it's due. Um, the Lakers were disappointing tonight, man. They lost by 11, but trust me, if you were watching the game, it felt like a lot more. Um, the point isn't the Lakers this game, but we're still going to talk about this game because this is the game that made me realize what I realized. James Harden had 23 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, 7 for 15 from the field, and 3 of 7 from 3, 6 of 7 from free throw. Kyrie had 16, 7 and 5. He was missing a lot of shots, missed all his threes. Joe Harris really played big, 6 from 7 from 3, 7 from 10 from the field. Bruce Brown did his thing, and the bench did their thing, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the Nets. We thought that, and not just me, that the offense wasn't gonna be fluid. It was gonna be a broken offense, like just not fluid, and we were completely wrong. When Harden said he wanted a championship, he meant it because he's been willing to sacrifice his numbers for the sake of the team, and he's a point guard now. Really, Kyrie even said, like, Harden's the point guard, not me. Kyrie's basically a two. He's always been like a two in his career. He just plays point guard due to his height. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because the Nets really, the defense is bad, right? But the offense is so fluid that if the other team's just playing bad, you can't do, like, you're gonna lose that game if you're the other team. And that was the Lakers tonight. Obviously, the Nets defense isn't good, but the Lakers were not good. LeBron had 32, 8 and 7. He was 1 from 6 from 3, which I'm glad this will probably talk LeBron fans down, acting like he's some phenomenal shooter. He was 1 for 6 from 3. Watching the game, it didn't look like he wanted to shoot, but he was getting to the rack at will. Because once again, the Nets' interior defense is terrible, and that's why I don't think they're going far at all in the playoffs. Personally, I think they're, well, not at all, let me stop, but I think they're second round exit. I think there's a lot of matchups in the playoffs they don't want to see. But the point isn't to talk bad on them. The point is to congratulate them and to congratulate Harden for fitting right into this offense and running the offense without being the one to score all the points. But the thing I'm starting to see, Harden struggled with this when he was first traded to the team, but he's really learning, like, okay, like, I can facilitate, I could get 15, 20 assists, but I need to take over right now. And he did that this game there because there was no KD. Kyrie wasn't playing very well, and Harden took over, and he did what he had to do. He got the job done, getting easy buckets. So yeah, shout out to the Nets. I expected more of a back and forth game. I was hoping for more of a back and forth game. But, hopefully this tells LeBron fans to calm down. LeBron's phenomenal, but they would have been on something else if the Lakers won this game. This game low-key disappointed me, but at the same time, I learned a lot from this game. Um, LA, let's talk about them. Kyle Kuzma, man, he's been making big improvements. He had a double-double, 16 and 10, and recently he's just been playing better. I think it's taken him a while, but he's finally really starting to understand his role. And he knows, like, all right, if LeBron's not on the court and I'm on the court, this is the time where I can, do what I want to do. You feel me? Um, and that's what he's been doing. Just playing, knowing when he probably has to try and score, but then also knowing, okay, I could facilitate and I could rebound the ball and defend. And those are three things that he is learning to do and it's just great because he doesn't have to score. Um, and if he's not scoring, now he can do other things on the court. Because earlier in the season and last season, if Kyle Kuzma's on your team and Kyle Kuzma isn't scoring, he's basically useless. LeBron, already talked about him. Everyone else on the team really underperformed, man. You'd think that, I mean, Marc Gasol and Montrezl Harrell, you just gotta play better. You got DeAndre Jordan there. He's not still an elite defender or anything of the sort. So I just think they should have done better, especially Montrez. We know Marc Gasol's old and all that, so. And obviously Montrez is a shorter center, but still, man, you gotta do better than that. Um, that's really all I got to talk about that game. The Lakers looked out of whack, and the bench looked not good at all, which is weird to say for the Lakers because even though we know they don't have like some crazy good bench players or anything, their bench is so versatile and the chemistry is so much there that it always feels like the bench is playing good. But tonight you could clearly see when LeBron wasn't on the court, they didn't know what to do. And as much as I've said Anthony Davis hasn't been good this season, it shows the impact he has on this team as the second best player. That's all I have to say about that game. Not a lot of basketball tonight, but there is one thing I caught during the Bucks game. I didn't watch much of the Bucks game, but I should definitely saw the end. And if you're I don't want to blame it on Giannis. I want to blame it on Mike Budenholzer. If you're Mike Budenholzer, you got to be better. You really do. Um, Toronto Raptors always seem to have the Bucks numbers, and it's because Nick Nurse will every night outsmart Coach Bud, because Coach Bud makes no adjustments, and Giannis is just getting walled up in the paint, and all he can really do is drive in there and pray he gets fouled. And what adjustments can you make, you ask? I mean, you got Dante DiVincenzo out there with not Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton. Run some pick and rolls, man. I didn't see enough pick and rolls towards the end of that game. It was just, hey, you give the ball to Giannis, let's see what he can do. All the shooters stand still. Call more plays, get more moving off the ball, off ball screens. I feel like this team doesn't do enough plays and they just rely on Giannis to basically ISO, do spins and like spin dunk and all that. And that's not how you win a championship at the end of the day. You never will win a championship that way. Um, Toronto Raptors, a win for them. That's good for them. They obviously started off really rough, but I have no doubt right now that they're gonna make the playoffs. Um, and the Bucks, man. I came into the season thinking with like some of the new pieces they have, they'd be somewhat better. I really can't tell if they are. They're 16 and 13, so they're fine, but you expect better. The Raptors are 14 and 15. They're the sixth seed. The East and West, man, very close divisions right now. I think that's all I really got to talk about today. like and subscribe. Let me actually see what games we have tomorrow. Probably gonna make another video. Let's see. Pelicans vs Suns. I'll be talking about that. Hawks vs Celtics. I'll try to catch that game and anything else that pops up. But peace out.